Hollywood, California, Harmontown is now in session. Please welcome to the stage the mayor of Harmontown, Dan Harmon.
Thank you. I've been kind of haunted by when Dino was on the show, and we watched the show through his eyes, and at one point he's like, why are these people here? Why do they come here? It was a valid question. I didn't. So now I'm kind of like, I'm back to my old nervous self. Like I want to put on a good show. So that's probably a good energy to be in, right?
That's good. Always be prepared to give people what they want.
Yeah. It was just not to say that I don't have anything to talk about, except that we adopted Erin and I adopted a new dog. Our therapist then told us we had adopted a grief dog, because we had adopted it moments after our friend OD'd. But I didn't do the math until that moment. It was like, I guess we have a grief dog. I guess this was an irresponsible decision. But we got like this little tiny dog that through some rescue service from some guy that found it in a box on the street or whatever, and it's like this little mix of terrier and a bunch of other things that make it not breathe properly but snore adorably. And it's smaller than my cat, and it won't stop humping Harvey, and it loves Harvey, and it's like Harvey loves it, and like it's scary. They're very happy together, and then it just like there's nothing. Why are dogs humping things so funny to us? Like as primates, like we're the most awkward humpers you would think in the animal kingdom. Like other animals are kind of designed to do that, but then when you look at a little dog like humping a big dog's elbow, and they're like the expression on their face when they're kind of like just that when they're just like looking at anything other than.
Well, I think it's because I think it's because we're kind of Heisenberging that experiment. Like they're looking at you generally, like you're in the room, and they kind of make weird eye contact with you while they're humping you, and that's no fun for anybody.
Yeah. So anyways, he's a little guy. And
were you motivated? Like, did you say like we should go rescue a dog in your grief, or did that dog come to you somehow? Like,
well, I feel like I a long time ago was like Harvey should have like a companion, because I think that he's a lovable guy and we get a lot out of him. But I also feel like every time he encounters another dog, he's so happy. And just the thought of when we left the house, if there was another dog there that he could hang out with. It was just very cartoonish thinking. And then there was also that karmic thinking of, we got Harvey from a breeder. He's our little buttermilk, silver spoon, little biological child that we bred with our little white penis parts. And I was always like, we got to go get ourselves a fucking, a little scrapper.
So it's a grief
to make up for it in God's eyes.
It's a grief and a guilt dog at the same time.
It's a guilt dog on behalf of the animal lovers of the world, like the people that would otherwise say you killed a dog when you brought Harvey home.
So is anybody currently at home with those dogs right now, or is it just a giant dog fuck fest going on?
Well, we're crate training Nigel, which is the name of our little Nigel. We're crate training him, so is
there an origin story for the name of Nigel?
No, I just we were gonna go with Willem because he looks like Willem Dafoe, but I don't know. I just we were getting in the car, and then I just instinctively kind of called him Nigel as I was like come here, Nigel, and whatever. It's become a morning show. Our show's a morning show now. Soon we'll have equipment. I'll bring up photos. I'll show you my dog photos, and then I'll maybe I'll have a baby by then, and I'll bring up them. I'm not saying no one's pregnant.
Also, later on in tonight's show, Dan's going to make his famous New England clam chowder.
Mr. Nibbles is coming out with. I'm very excited about our guest. I was just I was talking to him in the green room, and it just turned into the show. Like,
I skipped through the green room because I was a little bit late and didn't have time, but just managed to see our guest, and I'm very excited.
I always have a rule, like I try not to talk to the guest. Like I just stare at them and fold my arms. No, I don't try to, like if they're coming in, like because I'm a bad interviewer and a bad so I want whatever energy I have, like whatever I want to talk to them about. I don't want to have to like But I just started talking to him about all the stuff, like, so no show tonight, and it's bad. If you see us talking about anything interesting, it's the second time through. All the answers are prepared. But my enthusiasm for this guy is like on many layers. But I think we should just bring him out right away. I don't think I have anything to talk about. I'm miserable at work. I'm trying very hard to make season 6 good.
Why don't we talk about that for a little moment? Why don't you unburden yourself of that just to get things like. Let's.
I'm just very behind schedule. It's all my fault. I just, from the very get-go, they finally gave me enough rope to hang myself. I don't have anybody to complain about. I have this giant corporation in Yahoo that's like just loves the show. They're going to advertise the fuck out of it. Everything is like beautiful and wonderful. Everyone's on my side, and so of course I'm going to self-destruct. That's.
Is it as simple as you don't have an enemy above you that you dislike and hate and fear?
I believe that's the case. Yeah, I think that I think that I need to feel like I'm supposed to clean my room, so that me not cleaning my room is entertainment. But now this is just going to be a show about a dirty room. And it's not going to make any sense, you know. They're going to be like, why did you clean up your room? And then I don't know. It's not going to. No, it's not that bad. But
aren't you always,
I'm just worried about it all the time because I don't have anything to gauge it by.
But aren't you always this behind schedule and worried at the same time?
I think it's unprecedented this time. I think just the first episode, I was like, I put us way behind schedule the first episode. It wasn't like I knew how to do the first episode. It was like I didn't, and then like I just kept delaying that, and then like so everything is just delayed all the time. Just delayed.
Is it like Tootsie where people are getting pages right?
It's exactly like Tootsie. It's before you finish your question, it's in any way that you could mean that, it's exactly like Tootsie. I've never seen Tootsie. I don't know. Tootsie's based on a soap opera, I think, so they're probably and we do shoot. Community right now is being shot like a soap opera. Yes, there are these actors who have these characters that they understand that come in and they do not know what they're doing, and they are handed pages for the next scene, and they look at them and they learn them during rehearsal, and I mean they should all get Emmys relative to that. So should the prop master, who then goes, "Oh, so a giant phone then, asshole." And I'm like, yeah, sorry, just typed it. And she's like, I'll start with big phones and see how I can make them bigger. And she goes in back, and then she comes out with a giant phone an hour later, and everyone's great, and they all hate me because if I gave them more time with material, they would be able to do their jobs as good as they are.
The prop masters are unbelievable in their ability to, you at the last second, to rewrite something and it just appear on set. It's unreal how they do that.
Yeah, and the people that make the pants and the people that make the hats, two departments that you didn't know were different, constantly feuding with each other. Within the wardrobe department, there's the pants department, the hat department, and like pages will come in, and I'll purposely antagonize them by saying something like, "He has a large trouser-shaped hat." Just to watch, because I just like to watch them. No, that's not true. But everybody that works on that show should get a Medal of Honor, and I should be shot in the face, and my blood should be like scraped into a vial and like sent to a lab so we can figure out a way to block my DNA from ever reoccurring in television, because all I do is hurt people.
Now,
thank you. It was the one time when I was fishing for something.
And it only kind of trickled in.
And yeah, it was very, they were like, here, if this is going to... They were like, we agree, go on. And then they're like, well, if you're not going to go on, all right, got it. Okay, well, anyways, let's. But yeah, so I just like, I'm trying to. So then
you got directors coming in, because I had dinner with Bobcat the night before for a table read, and he knew that the next day there was no script.
I was just starting to cut his episodes. Great.
Yeah, but he was saying like, I've never really done this before. Table reads tomorrow. There's no script. I said there might not be a table. Like you might walk in and they're building a table for you. And he goes, for me, that's kind of how I make my movies. Like, I don't like to know everything in advance. He goes, this seems like perfect for me.
He did great.
I said I think it will be then. Like,
it's a great episode. He did a great episode. Yeah. They're all great episodes. It's a great show. It's the best show on TV. It's not even on TV. I just have to go through this. It's just there's nobody telling me what to do. So then you look at it and you go like, well, that's how you're going to end it? With Leonard just taking a shit?
Spoilers.
All right.
Soilers. What would you
but
rather
you haven't
have?
seen what he ate.
What would you rather have next time if you had to do another season or another show? Would you rather have Robert Zemeckis breathing down your neck or a nice cable network not breathing down your neck?
No, I think I continue to enjoy TV. I think that what I definitely need is like, because Chris McKenna is like my right hand man and like the guy who makes everything really funny, like has a lot of passion. He's not like, it's not like I'm Picasso and he's like a guy that makes Picasso possible. It's not like he's a frame fetcher. I don't know who did what for Picasso, but he's like an equal and a partner creatively. He just cares about the show in different ways, but he's like very funnier than me, and like always come up with these ideas. It's just he and I like making the show together as partners, and what there isn't is like a liaison between us and the suits and the production. What we need is like a kind of a third guy that's just like, hey, it's me, Eugene, and like, oh, Eugene, it's like, need help with that funny script? I'm like, sure, Eugene, you're a hilarious writer. But first, could you check in with the line producer about those giant phones? That's what we need. And also, Sony's calling. Hey, Eugene, you take that one. Give your comedy a break for a second. Go take the Sony call. We need Eugene.
So, what was that person's name on the last version?
Nice try. Everyone,
you had a Eugene back.
Everyone takes a little bit of the Eugene role here and there. I mean, like whatever.
So it's all too much paradise there. Everyone's Picasso, and there's nobody yelling at you, and it's too easy. And
coupled with the fact that any actual grown-up work that has to be done, it's either me or Chris doing it. Neither of us. That's not our wheelhouse. That's not where we're best used. Right. Like we don't want to talk on the phone to anybody about marketing or like keeping the trains running, but we have to. We're happy to do so, but then we are behind schedule. So that's my lesson. I would like to do more TV, but I need to find like a fall guy. I need to find a guy that's like
more of like the type A person that likes the minutia, likes the detail work.
Yeah, like one of these guys that's like kind of like happy to not be funny or something. I don't know, like that's like sort of like I just like being around the magic. You guys are crazy. What were you smoking? Wait, what are you smoking? What are you smoking? If you call human resources, I'll fucking kill you. Go back in your office, Eugene, and talk to Sony. We just need somebody. All right.
Seems like a dream job for a lot of people that aren't that talented but would love to be around that.
I think there's a lot of those guys out there.
I think we have a few in the crowd. They just clapped.
I wouldn't mind, and I wouldn't mind being that guy pretty soon. Like I'm kind of that guy on Rick and Morty a little bit. Like just Justin's so insane. Like I just stay in the writers' room and work on scripts, but like Justin's a maniac. So I'm just kind of like, hey, you heard the man. Make it about turds. Anyways, actually, that's not true at all. Justin does everything related to production, so that's not even a good analogy at all. I'm just like kind of like the head writer on Rick and Morty. Who cares? We came to the show called Harmontown. We care. Shut up. You should care more about our guest tonight. Let's bring him up and start. Oh, what is this?
Were you in the hospital recently? What
God. I was in the middle of
that's right. I'm dying.
I was having... what is this from? Oh, this is from Harris's memorial. Humble brag. They had that's worth noting in the diary of our lives. They had a really wonderful memorial at the Upright Citizens Brigade new space, which on paper I would have thought like I don't want to go to this, but Erin, I knew Erin would want to be there, and I was like, I'm gonna go. And also, I should be there, but I wouldn't have gone. Do you know what I mean? But I'm glad I did, because it was really it really hit you like the importance of a memorial service. Like it was just a flood of like stories about a person that is gone now, and it was like you're just laughing the whole time. It was just like, what an amazing guy, and it really helped. It really helped like atone, like somehow, I don't know, just squeezed you out a little bit. There's a lot of people walking around kind of shell shocked, and then you listen to these stories, and I don't know, it just works. I don't get it. I guess the Neanderthals invented it, the idea of a funeral. So why are we questioning? Why did I think it wasn't a good idea to go? But it was nice, and I have a bracelet on from it. And
were you afraid that because it was a comedy thing that it might not be sincere, or that
I was afraid of. I have social anxieties being around people. First of all, I don't understand death, and I'm afraid of it and coping with it. I don't know how to talk to people under normal circumstances. I don't know how to small talk. There is no such thing as small talk at a memorial. My usual path through conversation to avoid my avoidance of small talk is to kind of like talk about whatever's really going on. Whatever's really going on it's not a fucking safe area at a memorial, because you don't know. If you're talking to a Parks and Rec guy, you can't be presumptuous about how grief-stricken someone must be. Like, you don't know. You're trying to calculate, like, how hard did this person get hit, and what right do I have to say anything? And I don't want to think about stuff like that. I have to think about stuff like that too much, just like normally. The therapist said, don't think about that stuff. Just speak in truths that cannot be. Just bring some Kleenex. Be the Kleenex guy. And say, no matter how ridiculous it sounds, and no matter how repetitive it sounds, this is terrible. Really? This is terrible? You're supposed to say that at a function? But I tried doing it. It worked on Adam Scott. That's when I really leaned into it. I remember it was Adam Scott, and I said, this is terrible. And he's like, yeah, it is. This is hair. I felt like he did appreciate it, and I was like, okay, I'm going to just keep, this is awful. This is terrible. And Adam Scott was like, okay, you can stop now. But yeah, it was great. It was a great celebration.
Did you get up and speak?
No, of course not. No. I was just there to, like, Erin was close to him, Rob was very close to him, and you know, I knew Harris, and I didn't
realize how close my close friends were to him. I just met him a handful of times. I didn't realize how tight he and Rob were, and like other friends of mine.
Yeah, it was a pretty. I would, no exaggeration. Like I like if you named a person that we knew, like I would without knowing, I would bet that they knew him. You know, like he was just like kind of everywhere.
Like I forgot that he sang at Rob's wedding with Sarah and Paul.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought your little. I guess if it was a eulogy that you did last show, it was very.
Well, that was my anger phase. There are other people are bargaining. That was me being angry at like anti-drug people, and now I'm getting towards acceptance, which is like the scariest thing in the world because you don't want somebody to be dead. So, all right, now that we warmed up the stage for for Booger, my affection for this guy is unparalleled, and I've been so excited about having him on the show for so long. Even if only it was because he had been such an indelible presence in so many formative movies when we were growing up. So many reasons that I'm out here in this city, but also just now in the modern world, he's also doing some work I admire because he's executive producing like one of the only kind of semi-honest reality shows that's on TV that we can talk about a little bit. So let's bring him out. Curtis Armstrong is here. Take any of those, yep, wherever you're comfortable.
Hi, thank you.
Hello?
Thanks for playing me in.
Yeah. Well, we had to kind of brighten the mood after that last 10 minutes.
Yeah, I know. I was really getting sad back there.
You weren't supposed to listen. Oh, God.
No, it's okay.
Well,
I mean, just, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
You didn't happen to know Harris Whittles, did you?
I did not. I never worked with him.
No.
I never met him even.
Yeah, it was yeah, whatever, man. Well, it's like just stories from him in the writer's room being sad at a memorial. That's like what hits home because it's like you're in an audience of workaholics, like so everyone spends 16 hours a day in a certain environment, and then you're hearing about this guy who kind of shot through that environment, and like it just raises all these questions about what the fuck are we doing, which was a common theme, and I think Matt Besser, who went up early on, who's a renowned curmudgeon, and you know, but he really it was the perfect eulogy for anybody, let alone somebody that you could have taken it and put it in any wake, and it would have been very inspiring. But it was really apropos to this guy that passed. But it was all about that concept of what was this thing that made them special that we didn't notice when they were around, and now that they're gone, what just how can this person live within us, and can we? And it really, I was really taken with all these stories about him, because the constant theme was how little a shit he gave, he gave zero fucks, and maybe that hurt him in the end, but it also clearly I was like, what the fuck was I doing the entire time that he was around? Why was I over here doing something different, like playing this game of how am I driving with the audience, when this guy was suffering under the yoke of mainstream perceptions, just spent every job that he went to and kept getting promoted. He's one of those superstars that would come to work and then show up late, and no one gave a fuck, because if they fired him, their show would get unfunny. And he just spent his career bursting at the seams, whatever seams were around him. And I was that guy at one point, at some point, and then I started tweeting, and then I turned into a fucking weird half Mr. Rogers, half asshole, constantly. By the way, how are you? What's your name? And
sorry, Curtis. That's all the time we have. Curtis Armstrong.
Thank you.
Anyways, I want to start with King of the Nerds instead of I think we'll get into your blessings upon my my adolescence, but you're currently right now TBS Friday nights at 9.
Friday nights at 9. Yeah, we're for the first time.
It's called King of the Nerds, whereas most reality shows are kind of they're called Who Wants to Fuck the Smiling Joe, and it's all about it's a templated reality show. I mean, it looks and feels like a reality show, except because
it does, because we've got the people who actually know what they're doing. Robert Carradine and I, who were in Revenge of the Nerds, we came up with the nerd show idea. But we needed people who actually had a clue, because we didn't. We've never done reality shows. We've never known people who've been in reality shows. So once this thing was actually going somewhere, we needed people who could actually run it. And those are the people who are making those kinds of the actual template of Survivor type shows or whatever.
But those people,
but we have certain things that we want to make sure they stick with, which has to do with nerd culture and have it be a little different.
Well, for instance, the fact that every time somebody gets eliminated, it
breaks everyone's heart.
You always when the person gets eliminated is when they are raised to the height of their individuality, and you give a little kind of Springer's final thoughts about who they are.
Right.
You say, Jackson, although there is no cosplay in the great beyond, you have dressed as a hero this whatever.
You do that really well.
You give them a very personalized, and it's not just
I know.
based on superficial stuff.
They always cut them because I write them too long. I mean, because what we do
write
is
those?
I write those because I can't give them a basic. Well, thanks for playing. It's not in me to do it. They mean. It's strange, but they actually. I'm an executive producer of this show and a host of the show, but I am a fan of nerds, and I've always been a fan of nerds. And so when I'm in a room like you've got there, and I'm watching them for 15 hours a day, and I become so enraptured with them, and it's when they leave, it really bothers me. And that separation you're supposed to have as a host of a reality show, I'm not capable. I cannot do that. I just get too emotionally involved.
And I don't think you have to, because you're kind of a den leader to these Cub Scouts, which is somebody who does need to have a kind of cosmic detachment from them.
It's kept very separate when we're shooting. But what's going on inside of me is different.
Oh, I see.
And then what happens, when we're shooting, there's no funny business, there's no talking, there's no, they are the hosts. Mm-hmm. You don't talk to the hosts, just like any other show. But I'm dying inside.
Is there any room in your show for that to be revealed?
I think people take it for granted. I think they just assume that that's the case, that you don't actually have relationships with them.
No, I'm saying, but is there room to include that your pathetic.
Well, you could do those little.
It's, I
Well,
mean, I take that. I use the farewells, which are usually made up on the spot because we don't know completely who's going to go home and who's not. So they're made up at last minute, and I use that as my way of expressing my love for them.
Right. And then they cut that down to a tiny.
And they cut that down to this much.
But it's very. I mean, obviously from the top down, there's a mandate to preserve the humanity and not punish aberration. Like the things that make you different are the things that make you good, not necessarily the things that make you bad. And the way that you win is not necessarily blending in with everyone else. And that's a crucial difference to the show, because it's because it's called King of the Nerds. So it's like they're actual nerds. It's not like it's depending on how you define that. Some people might go, why is a guy that only reads comic books a nerd? Because I work for NASA. But there's like everyone who you could authentically call a nerd, which I think is defined by kind of obsession. I think I
think that's as good a description as anything.
And they come in and they do cry and they do have mental breakdowns and they do reveal pettiness and greed and ambition and embarrassing things. But
because they're human beings.
It's part of it. It feels like well, this would happen to you too, and it happened to them for a they don't. No one ever feels like they're walking out and you're going like, oh fuck that psychopath. Like I'm glad I hope they get hit by a bus as they leave the show.
Right.
They're like all like decent people and yeah. It's thank you for making that show. You're in your third season.
Let me just give you one quick thing, just to tell you, to give you an idea of how this all works for them. When we did our premiere in January for this season, we wanted to have a party, to do some press and all that, and we sent the word out through Genevieve, who was one of your guests before, to the nerds who had been on the previous seasons, saying, in addition to the new nerds, if you want to come, and join us for the party. We're not paying for it. We can't give you any money. We can't fly you here. But if you're here, come to the party. All of season 3, this group, all of them showed up. All but one of season 2. And half of season 1. And they all came here on their own dime. They all paid for their own tickets. They found housing. They did all of that stuff because they wanted to be there for that premiere party.
That's great, because normally when people are on contestants on reality shows, they feel pretty flushed down the toilet and thrown away. Because the editing can be so cruel.
Yeah, but we don't. Yeah, that's true. But we don't let go of them, you see.
Now, when you said earlier that you've always loved nerd culture. When you did Revenge of the Nerds, were you guys aware of nerd culture back
No,
then?
because I don't think there was a lot of nerd culture anyway. I mean, not really. There were Star Trek conventions and so on, and Comic Cons, but they were like in basements in those days. They weren't corporate behemoths.
Yeah, they weren't in the light of day.
Right,
yeah.
Exactly. I mean, they were all people in their garages. With,
that movie, Revenge
boxes.
of the Nerds, we were talking about in the green room. It was for me, by my perception, it was the very slow beginning to what we have today, which is just nerd domination. And the word nerd almost means nothing, because what is a nerd when nerds are captains of industry and running the government and we own everything and we.
That's really true.
And we are the sought after demographic, and it's like and I start to worry. Should I say we? Because I'm worried I'll get called out on not being an authentic nerd, and yet everyone's a fucking nerd. It goes back to that pivot point. I always associate it with that movie, that because it put a label on it and said absolutely from here on out, if you see somebody who's weird in a movie, all those people that we make fun of in the movies when they come through and they go, oh look, it's Purple Derper. From now on, you have to understand that person is the hero of their own story. You're not allowed to just give them a wedgie and call that a joke anymore.
Yeah.
You could do that in Meatballs. You could do that in leading up to that, the preppies could be the heroes.
Yeah, in my memory, every movie before that was the joke. Every movie after that, you weren't allowed to do that. Like the jocks were the good guys until that movie.
You're right. Yes.
But you were saying in the green room, this fascinates me, that movie was incredibly unsuccessful critically.
Critically, it was a disaster. They hated us. They just hated us. And I think, I mean, at the time we were sort of consoling ourselves by saying things like, well, all critics are self-loathing nerds, and that's the reason they see too much of themselves.
But the director, you said, who I'm gonna watch Revenge of the Nerds again, see if it holds up. Like, I do know. Well, I want to talk about Better Off Dead in a second. I have watched Better Off Dead since Bobcat was on here, and we talked about Savage Steve Holland. And I ran home and watched Better Off Dead again, and fuck, it holds the hell up. And it's such an important film. And also, like, Savage Steve, like, then he just kind of trickled away. And I want to have him as a guest on here and talk about that, because the perceptions of people who are in the Midwest watching this stuff on HBO, Select TV, VHS tapes that they run into disintegration, which Revenge of the Nerds is one of them. Our perception is cultural efficacy. It's just that, this must be an amazingly influential and successful film, and it is for us, but in some strange emerald city from which it's coming, people are being rewarded and punished on different scales. And Jeff Canoe, who directed Revenge of the Nerds, went on to direct Gotcha, you said. I'm acting like I'm an expert. I pumped you for this information.
Yeah.
He went on to direct Gotcha, which is the paintball
I love
exploitation movie.
I remember everything about that movie.
Do you really?
Oh, yeah, I saw it in the theater with my mom. I'm like, it's the best. And I went, and there were like those little tracer disc guns that they shot little plastic discs that flew pretty well. And I just played Gotcha all the time. So it was I was going around and playing like a fake assassin and being like a spy with my Gotcha gun.
Yes, I am a spy. Sorry, that's from the commercial. But then he kind of like, and then he sort of.
Well, this is a good question to ask of him as well. But I mean, he was somebody who, if it had not been for Jeff Canoe, we wouldn't have had the freedom to. That movie wouldn't have had the freedom to develop the way it did and come out the way it did. He was incredibly brilliant at creating an environment in which writers and actors and even producers were involved. He was casting the producers in tiny roles in Revenge of the Nerds and sort of keeping them in the group.
And he had this collaborative writing process.
It was very, very collaborative. And he brought all of us out a week early before shooting, putting us all up in a hotel with the writers and the producers and so on. And we would just sit in the hotel all day. We'd be hanging out at the pool, and then they would call you in, and you would go in, and you would talk about who Booger was. And you had to write everything down. I went back to my room and I did my old acting school job of, writing down my biography of Booger. I did this.
What is Booger's biography?
That was really funny because what wound up happening was, like last year, I was going through a trunk of stuff and I found this amazing notebook, which I still have, because I was serious, this was an acting thing that you did when you're trained the way I was trained. And I had this booklet, and it's got the bios of all of the characters I played in those early movies up to about 87. And so I'm looking at it, this text, and I go into it and I find Booger's biography, and I'm reading what I wrote in 1984 as to who I thought Booger was.
God damn it! I would have told you to bring that.
I can tell you right now, it was me. It was totally me.
I was going to ask you how much of Booger was on the page on the script before.
There was very little. There was almost none.
Like, was there a breakdown for the character that said Booger comes in and
he
fact,
looks like? And he... I didn't audition for Booger. I auditioned for Gilbert for Anthony's part. Yeah, which is what I thought I was reading for. So, that's great. I'm reading for. Oh, great. I'm working with Bobby Carradine. That's fabulous. And then it turned out that I was actually auditioning for a part that was too small and too disgusting to audition people. You couldn't use Booger. I mean, what is it going to be? It's like, I think the douchebag line, my mother's old douchebag, but that's back in Ohio. That was like the only line that had a beginning and an end. For Booger. It was mainly nose picking and belching.
Because your character was only nerdy in the sense that you were just completely...
He wasn't nerdy at all.
You were a sociopath. You were a misfit.
Exactly. Booger's only reason for existence is to show how saint-like these other nerds are.
Yeah.
Well,
you just believed in them so much. Like, this guy is the best.
Well, I have another...
What they do is he gets thrown out. I mean, it's sort of a traditional thing. He gets thrown into the outer darkness with them. them.
Right.
And they don't even think about it. They just say, "Oh, you come with us."
That's okay. So this is an important thing because you mentioned something, and you and I are similar age, same generation. Like, and then there's a new generation. If you look at Revenge of the Nerds through current eyes, I mean, I can, without rewatching it, I will tell you the fucking unacceptable red flags that are going to come up. There is absolutely non-consensual sex that converts a woman from being a bad guy to a good guy because she lets the nerd like disguise himself, and then the shit's like, "Oh, you're so good at cunnilingus."
It's just horrible. It's horrible.
Is it Darth Vader too? Like,
yeah. By our modern definitions, there's racism, there's homophobia, there's a million crimes that we've covered as we've progressed. Like now, you look back 30 years and it's like,
it's really true.
The important kind of like socio-political, like subversive element, though, and that's where Booger comes in, is the idea that was the first time in my consciousness that we put a word on nerd, but the whole idea of the movie that was demonstrated not just in that final monologue, oh, we're all nerds, and then even the beautiful people are saying, I'm a nerd too, but more importantly, throughout the first and second act, this creeping realization that the word nerd has no boundary except that you are the other, which means that if you smoke weed, you're a nerd, which means that if you're a which means that and what is the common hub? It is being divested of your right to prejudice, because there is a gay man within the nerds,
a gay black man.
He is not immediately sussed out for his aberration. He is ignored.
Not only
he is welcomed, and
it's never questioned. And when we go to UN Jefferson, because we want the lambda to support us, we say that there will be no prejudice, which we think will get us in with him, Bernie Casey. There won't be any prejudice according to race or creed. And Larry B., who plays Lamar, says, or sexual orientation, which is like a joke that would work now.
Right.
Yeah.
If you weren't, if you were doing that kind of a parody on that sort of thing.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, it was, they meant it as a parable for anti-Semitism. That's what the writers meant.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Listen, I just found that out about Superman. I remember hating that and then learning that two Jewish kids created it. And
it was the same thing, and they did that. The burning nerds on the lawn and all of that. They were going into these, which were at the time for people our age. They were these strong, cultural flags of something that had been going on in the 60s and the 70s that we were supposedly coming out of now, which, of course, we haven't. But that was the idea.
Revenge of the Nerds.
And now...
I was making a drink and I didn't know.
I could keep talking while you're doing that.
I want to hear now it's time to talk about Better Off Dead.
Yeah,
which is what you really want to talk about anyway.
Well, kind of, but I don't want you to talk out of school. But I want to.
That's a movie. I mean, I did a quote. I did a reference to that movie, not knowing you were going to be here. I think last week or the week before, and that's a movie that I know I quote a couple times a week ever since I've seen it. And it's also like it's a thing that when something happens, everybody in the room of a certain age all says the same line.
Right.
I've never seen snow without quoting you from that movie.
Right.
Because that is a great fucking line.
Which
Do you have
one?
any idea what the street value of this mountain would be?
My favorite moment in Better Off Dead is when the bad guy, he skis to a stop and then there's John Cusack and there's his cute girlfriend who's going to get stolen by the bad guy, and then there's Curtis's character standing next to him. And the bad guy, the preppy bad guy, says, looking at Cusack's girlfriend, goes like, "Oh, you're a cute little thing. What's your name?" And with incredible sincerity, you step forward and go, "Charles Dumas." And it's not you're not being the guy who's like you're not the Animal House subversion. No. Your character in that movie is like an interesting tweak on the nerd character, because he's absolutely he doesn't ever seem to really take any sides, and he's sort of he's very happy to be called a cute little thing and help that guy with his skiing if that's what he wanted in that moment.
Yes, I'll hold your clipboard. Yes, yeah. No, it was such an odd movie because it. Hello. It was
we'll edit that out.
It it was a story that was pretty typical, that was being filtered through his sensibility, which no one was aware of at the time. He was very new. He was 24, I think. And he was making this, what was basically this was a real movie.
How many of you guys? How many of you? How many of you seen Better Off Dead? Who's
All right, wait. More accurately, by applause, honestly, who has not seen the movie?
Wow, a lot of
it's
people.
creeping in. I mean, this is we're getting old. We're getting old.
This is the thing: is that now it's like me talking to somebody like your age about movies that, when I was your age, I thought would never go away, and they've already gone.
Yeah, I mean, Better Off Dead. It didn't occur to me.
You mean
until,
like Birth of a Nation?
Yeah,
like
those kinds of movies.
Yeah. I was growing up on. We were all growing up on John Hughes movies, and it did. When I rewatched Better Off Dead, what I finally realized, having become in my old age a kind of John Hughes expert, was that the thing about Better Off Dead was its departure from the John Hughes main line, and there was no other way to express it when you were back then, except that it's a weird movie, it's a crazy movie, it's weird, but it was like, no, it's not a weird movie would be, Easy Rider. I mean, it would just be about something weird. This is about sex and teenage life and going to prom and winning ski competitions. The tone of it, the reality is like it's not grounded in the John Hughes reality where you can live and die by what someone feels. There's
comedy sketches that keep recurring through it. It just breaks genre all the time.
The universe is absurd. There are so many things about the universe that make absolutely no sense that I would imagine a normal producer would immediately say, with all the best intentions, you can't do that. I know you think that's fun. The reason you think that's fun is because you're bored. And you're a director or you're a writer and you want to have fun, but the audience doesn't want to have that much fun. I'm not like, I say this all the time when I'm making my TV show. I'm like constantly going let's not freak them out. They want to believe these people are real so that we can continue to have fun for 1,000 years. Right. But then if you really the thing that I've learned doing Community is that as long as if somebody is betrayed, if they feel betrayed, and you believe they're betrayed, it doesn't matter if if the moon is a dick. It doesn't. It's the universe can just be anything. You can be in outer space. You can just cut to anything. We're all pickles now. But but as long as you have to pick that one channel to be consistent with the physics of emotional consistency. So why wouldn't that guy say that guy was an asshole? He just was an asshole to him. I don't care if they're pickles. I'm not going to ask why they're pickles. We didn't ask why Snoopy didn't run out of room in his doghouse. We were held to the ground by. You did.
I wondered that.
Remember those letters? Did you ever read about who was the father of Mr. Brady on the Brady Bunch? Shaw was his name. Who was the actor that played Father Brady on the Brady Bunch? I can't think of his name.
Well, he'd be happy right now.
God, no.
What the hell's his name?
Greg Brady? No, that can't be right.
Anyway, he would get these big fights with Sherwood Schwartz.
Robert. No, I thought no.
Robert Reed.
Robert.
Is that it?
Is it Robert Reed? Did I get half of it right? I'm sorry.
I almost said Robert Shaw. That's totally
that.
different.
Okay.
But he would get in these big arguments, with letters back and forth with Sherwood Schwartz, and say there cannot be a pie fight. You cannot have a family in a house and all of a sudden go into slapstick. And Sherwood Schwartz said, "We're making a TV show. We're having a good time." No, but there's rules that have to be adhered to. Yeah. And he was determined to keep there to be logic within the world of the Brady Bunch. But the audience, I love the pie fights on the Brady Bunch. It was great.
I think it's also in the case of the movies, it was an interesting time because I think that period around the 80s, the beginning of the 80s, mid 80s, was the last time you could really do a movie like Better Off Dead and have it be produced by a major film company and released in theaters with these actors in it who, John Cusack was not anybody who anyone really knew at the time. And certainly none of the rest of it. Kim Darby was probably the biggest star among us,
Who is that?
Kim Darby. You don't know who Kim Darby is?
No, who's Kim Darby?
I love that you don't know. Kim Darby was in the original. She played Cusack's mother. in
okay.
Lane's mother in Better Off Dead, and she was the original girl in True Grit, the John Wayne True Grit.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
She's French dressing and French fries?
Yeah.
French fries.
That's
yeah.
her?
Yeah, that's her.
I
yeah.
quoted that a couple days ago.
Yeah. We just saw her. I mean, we just did a reading.
Wait, she's the little girl in True Grit with
in
John
True
Wayne?
Grit with John Wayne.
I did not know that. That's
well,
amazing.
see, there you are. You learned something
That's
tonight.
really cool.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would have done. I don't know who I'd be if I didn't have that movie in my life. That John Cusack's character in that movie lived in a house that was roughly the size of mine.
It looked like a real house too.
He had he didn't have the problems I had, but he lived in a world that I did, in that I felt completely alienated. It was better expressed by that director than, God bless him for all of his incredibly important work, John Hughes. But I mean, like, it was more poignantly expressed through an absurdist lens by this more punk rock director who's saying, like, let's go more extreme with this. If I let's just say I want to kill myself. Let's have me try to kill myself.
Right.
Let's express how I feel through animation. Let's express how I feel through characters that could not exist in real life, like coming at me. That the net result will be that I feel beleaguered. That I feel
also,
That is just
also
so
to go
well
into
put.
to voiceover narration when the two Asian guys come up.
Right. Are you asking who did that?
No, I'm saying, like, just
the fact that it
just
happened?
to do that is hilarious.
Yeah, I know.
And also, like, you know it's coming back for the third time. When the second time it happens, like, it's going to happen a third time, and it's going to be at a great point in the movie.
Yeah.
and I want my $2. That has to pay off, and all these little things have to keep recurring. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Better Off Dead.
Now, okay, not to be a jerk, because I get to work with very frequently, and I love him to pieces, and we've talked about it quite a bit, and he has wonderful stories as Joel Murray.
Oh, yeah.
And he said the shooting of One Crazy Summer, that you guys were in Nantucket or Martha's Vineyard, or where were you guys?
We were in
And he's got
actually.
awesome, like, ribbled, sexy stories about what you guys got to do.
Well, I was not in that. I'm noticeably not in
Aren't
any
you
of
in that
those
one?
stories. No, I'm in the movie.
Yeah.
But I wasn't in any of the sexy ribbons. I missed all of those. I was,
No kidding, that's too bad, because he has some really...
I know.
He has some doozies.
Yeah, Joel did great, Bill's younger brother, he did okay.
He's the youngest of the Murray brothers. He's number 9 out of 9.
Yeah.
Now, because it happened on Twitter, so you can tell the story, right? That you were just telling me about the Cusack.
Just interesting story. Yeah, that this. I mean, of course, many of you here have not actually seen Better Off Dead, but
the legend is that Cusack
hated the movie,
not a fan of the movie. And I will let me lend this, because you're not talking out of school. I am. Rob Schraub was up to direct Hot Tub Time Machine long ago. He had a meeting with Cusack where Rob's going to be very angry at me about that. Like he came back from that meeting. I won't go into specifics, but he had a conversation that he came away from saying, "Oh my God, John Cusack doesn't like Better Off Dead." Okay. So
right.
it's out there.
It's out there that he was not happy with the movie, and then we had to make a second movie. The following year, we made a second movie with almost the same cast.
Because it was like a two-picture deal, or
it was supposedly the first 2 of 3 movies.
And the legend that I've heard is that Cusack had not seen Better Off Dead.
No, that's not true. That's not true. He had seen it.
Okay, that
He'd
there was
seen
before they started shooting One Crazy Summer.
You know what?
There was a screening of Better Off Dead.
That might have happened because I wasn't in Nantucket when they started filming, so they may have screened it there. And
so that there was like this new director. Was like
I knew that he had not been happy with the movie.
They're starting One Crazy Summer.
So they're starting a second movie with the same director and an actor who is not happy with the first movie, is what appeared to be the case. And over the years, the legends have it's just gotten ridiculous, where everybody says, well, not only does he hate it, but he abuses people who refer to it. And he actually, if he's handed something to sign and it has something to do with Better Off Dead, he will tear it up and throw it away. I mean, the stories became legendary.
Are those verifiable? Or is that all legendary?
No. It's just
I heard he stabbed
a
a child one time. Is that true?
Because his name
right.
was
his name was
Betty.
His
name was Lane.
And said, "I want my $2 as a joke." No, these are the kinds of things, and okay, the end of the story, as you're asking for, is that we did this reading 3 weeks ago in San Francisco for Sketchfest, and it was Savage was there, and a bunch of us from the movie, Kim Darby, Diane Franklin, Amanda Weiss, we were all there, and we were reading the script.
Reading Better Off Dead.
Better Off Dead. But Cusack is not there. So the next day, I'm getting all of these Twitter questions from people saying, where's Cusack? Why wasn't Cusack there? Why didn't you invite Cusack? That's bullshit, man. You should have had Cusack there. It was his movie and all this stuff and going on and on. And I usually don't respond to that kind of thing, but I finally wrote a tweet and said, John's not a fan of the film.
Uh-oh.
And that's the truth. So that's why he wasn't there. It's not like we didn't want him there. We would have loved to have had him. He doesn't like the movie. 10 minutes later, John Cusack tweets, not true.
I love Twitter so fucking much. I mean, you wouldn't be here without for Twitter.
So I know, and so
is that just
it
him?
winds up. John and I had not spoken to John in 25 years, probably, and we never
because he
followed
loved the
each
movie
other
so
on
much.
Twitter. Huh?
He loved the movie so much.
No, I mean,
To talk to
his
his co-stars would be to tamper with that memory.
Yeah. Nah, it's just, you don't. I mean, you move on in your life, and you just don't, you don't live in each other's pants exactly. It's just, you move on. So, but it's been a long time. Yeah, sorry. But it's been a long time, and we don't follow each other on Twitter. So suddenly he's following me on Twitter, so I follow him on Twitter.
Because he must have got zoomed by 1,000 tweets. Like
Of course. And then we start direct messaging about it. And it was so wonderful to hear, whatever his feelings had been, it was really great to get some nice feedback.
What was the kind of the takeaway from that conversation was?
He just, he says, I hated the music. I remember he said that he hated the music. I said, well, that's 80s music. I mean, everybody hates 80s music.
But was he sort of like, who sent the first direct message? I'm like a 14-year-old girl right now.
Okay.
Boy.
He sent the first one because what happened was he sent this out, a regular tweet,
right.
but he tagged me.
Right.
So when I followed him, he saw me.
Right.
So he followed me, and then he followed up on his initial tweet.
Right.
In which he said more about what his feelings were.
So
who sent the first direct message to
he did to me.
To you following up. That's
following what he had already.
He's saying,
tweeted.
hey, Curtis, just so you know, like I really love that movie.
No, he didn't say that.
It
was subtler than that.
It was more like, just so you know, it's a big mistake to spread rumors about the Coos.
Well, no.
Those are the two ends of the spectrum.
That really.
If you mess with the Coos,
you know, Joel Murray did what you did 5 years ago, and now he's doing improv with Jeff Davis. I will bury you.
Oh, God.
So he didn't come out and say retract that he at one point.
No. Look, you know what? It's all what winds up happening is, and I said this when I messaged him back. I said, this is what happens when you communicate through playing telephone.
Right.
To use a really old thing.
You know what's older than that? Chinese telephone. I remember that was an expression.
I said, you say one thing, somebody then comes to me and says, did you hear what he said? And I go, oh, geez, he said that? And then it goes back and forth and back and forth. And that was the way it went.
So how are things left with you and he?
Fine.
Fine?
Yeah.
You guys going to hang out?
No.
Are you gonna help him ski the 4K?
Like, the 12K.
12K.
Now,
the 12K, dude.
When I hear, and this is just me projecting onto him.
He even does my voice. It's a little scary.
Well, no, it's unintentional.
No.
I kind of sound like you, regardless.
Well.
The 12K, dude.
That's not bad.
Believe me, it's funnier in context.
There's that scene when he's making the burgers and Van Halen starts singing that terrible. It's not a good Van Halen song, by the way, for my money. And he starts doing animation with the burgers and the thing. And
right.
If there was a scene, if I were John Cusack and I looked back at a screening of that, I would not be proud of that scene because it's pretty ham bone.
Yeah,
and so when I hear him say he doesn't like the music, I think he's embarrassed about that one scene more
well, that could be, but that takes me into a whole area that I can't even comment on.
But and that also makes me wonder. Well, how does he feel about tape heads? Is he like he must be like a hipster? Like he must love tape heads.
I have no idea what he likes.
Because I just remembered Tape Heads, which was an
I remember
cult,
that with Timothy.
And I bet that had a lot more street cred with like music.
Well, it was an independent movie. I was working for that company when it was made, actually. And that was sort of low budget, independent, edgy movie of the time. And Tim Robbins.
How is it that you? You're this guy in Better Off Dead. Which, by the way, what order is that in? When are you Booger in relation to Better Off Dead? I don't even know.
It goes Revenge of the Nerds and Better Off Dead the same year.
Okay.
But Better Off Dead second.
So my confusion is forgivable.
Yes.
And then there's were you? What? How does that? I want to hear the kind of story about you going from. Like every actor has that fork in the road career story, or your 1-bedroom apartment, and you're thinking of moving back to. Where are you from, by the way?
I'm from Detroit.
Okay, so you're in LA. I'm assuming
No, I was in New York then.
Okay,
actually,
what's the threshold? What's the red light that you don't hit?
I think it was moonlighting. Actually, it was none of those.
Wait, what do you mean?
Oh, that's right. You were moonlighting.
Well, I mean, but that was.
God damn! I forgot about it.
That was
fucking love that show.
That's not fair though. I knew that. I was going to.
I didn't know. I forgot about it.
But that's
so
way
cool.
after. What do you? That's after all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
I know. But I was still living in New York the whole time, and I would do the movies. You know, I have to realize.
You're telling me that in
my head, this is how this is what I was thinking. This will give you a great idea because I started in the theater. Okay, so I was working like from mid-70s to my first movie, which was Risky Business, which was the year before.
Risky Business, I forgot.
I knew that one.
Okay.
How can I forget that?
Now,
you had the line that defines Risky Business.
Right.
This is risky business, man.
That's kind of like that.
Jesus Christ, this business is risky.
Do you have any idea how risky this business is?
I forgot you were in. I was
in it. I was in that, but
this business is pure risk.
They put me in that movie, and I thought it was the only movie I would ever make because I was not thinking in terms of movies. I was thinking in terms of stage. So when I did Risky Business, I kept a journal every day that I was on the movie for 11 weeks or 10 weeks. Only because I wanted to remember what making a movie was like. Wow. I really thought I would then just go back to doing, regional theater and doing, stuff in New York and that was going to be it.
Are you a song and dance man, or
No.
are you just a dramatic?
No.
You want to play Willie Loman? You want to?
No, I just do the same rubbish on stage that I do on film.
So where was Risky Business in this? Better Off Dead /
83 was Risky Business. 84 was Revenge of the Nerds. Better Off Dead.
Oh, okay. God damn it! I kept Risky Business out of nowhere.
Anyway, my point is that all of that was going on in the movies, the movie things. It was only when I got moonlighting that I actually was out here and working here and realizing I couldn't go anywhere,
right?
Because we were working, 10 months out of
the year. So you've
year.
always been sort of like on shore leave from
right.
the stage,
yeah.
And
Now
your
I don't
mind.
even. It's hard for me to even think about
That's
it. That's
so funny because you were Booger /
right.
Charles Dumas. And then at some point I bothered to see Risky Business, but it was about like sexy people, and it wasn't
right.
I forgot that you were in that, and Moonlighting was my favorite show, and I was watching it every night And I remember when you arrived as Mr. Pesto's lover, and I remember thinking like, fuck him, he sold out.
Right. Well,
but you were thinking, and so it begins. I guess I'm not going back to the stage.
I was thinking, I now have more than $200.
Right. Because you're just doing these movies that were, that's despite their cultural efficacy.
Yeah,
just,
I mean,
like,
now it
showing
seems
up.
like I must have been just making a fortune. And
I think
wasn't.
Yeah, that's everyone's perception of everyone they see on screen, yeah. Wow. All right.
No, that's why it was so. I mean, because you do those movies, and I did maybe 6 movies in the whole decade, 6 or 7 movies, and that was it. Everything else I was doing was stage. There was no money at all.
Do you have anywhere to be?
When? Now?
Tonight.
No, I was going to be here with you.
Right.
I sort of cleared my.
You don't have a
calendar.
heart out, do you?
I don't.
This is the point where Dan's afraid to keep his guest as much as he wants you to stay.
No.
And
I'm still good if you're
okay.
If you're good.
Yes,
Well,
you're allowed to fuck straight off if you want to go, but we would love to have you stay if you could.
No,
So I'm going to bring out my some of my other.
Thank you.
Is Spencer back there?
Spencer, are you in the house? All right, Spencer, everybody. Spencer, Chris.
Goodness. Oh, it's great to be here.
Spencer, did you willfully ignore the most important high five of my life?
Wait, what are you talking about?
I just hung a high five out there and you walked right by.
Oh, I thought you were like, yay, Spencer, yay.
Yes, but I wanted to make physical contact.
I always want to make physical contact
All right,
with you, Jeff.
I'm going to fuck the shit out of you after the show then, man.
Yay.
Spencer, were you affected in your upbringing by any of Curtis Armstrong's
Oeuvre?
Yeah.
Oh, totally. Like when I was in middle school, I remember there's these kids talking about this movie, and I was like, that sounds like the best movie I've ever heard. And it was Revenge of the Nerds, and it influenced my life.
All right. It almost sounds like the answer he'd have if he was just trying to stay out of trouble.
Right, exactly.
I definitely remember, now that you guys bring it up, that kids in middle school were talking about it, and I was like, that sounds crazy.
Yeah.
I don't really watch movies. I hate to admit it, but yeah. It's a huge problem in my life because everyone's all like, oh, it's like a risky business, and I'm like, I don't know what you mean. Why is this guy wearing underwear? I don't. You miss all these reference points. I don't know. What are you guys up to?
There was at least an entire episode of Moonlighting where it was you and Mr. Pesto. Because it was like that would happen a lot in broadcast TV back then. I remember an episode of Miami Vice when Crockett and Tubbs nowhere to be found, and there were just 2 guys.
Yeah,
those
were always the episodes at Christmas when the stars got to leave, like on December 1st, and they had no one to film, so they would film us, and that was what that was.
How was Sybil Shepherd to work with, if I may ask?
I never had a problem with Sybil Shepherd, actually.
Because she was a bit notorious later on. I don't know about.
Well, they were both notorious, actually, at different points. But I never had a problem. As far as acting, I never had a problem.
I love that show. My favorite memory of that is my family all watched that. We didn't watch a lot of shows all as a family, but we watched it together. But every time Sybil Shepherd was on screen, it was so gauzed out. Like she had this incredible.
Well, they
filter.
would joke about that on the show.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. They made a joke about her the filters.
Yeah, she came out into the office.
Well, you know
and
what?
Saw the camera and then held
Jerry Fennerman was the DP on Moonlighting. He was the DP on the original Star Trek. And if you watch the original Star Trek, every time there's a beautiful alien woman. There will be Kirk, and it's just Kirk, and then it goes to her close up, and it's like she's. You can barely see her.
Somebody's rubbed Vaseline all over the
Vaseline that they've got on the lens, and it was Jerry Fennerman's sort of his signature, and so he was still doing it in the 80s when it was actually now probably not such a good idea.
Some walk by.
Very good.
Yeah, thank you.
Very good.
Now,
I got that.
We've mentioned nerddom, Star Trek, and a bunch of things. We haven't even talked about Leonard Nimoy, man.
I know.
Oh, Leonard Nimoy passed.
Yeah. That's
a life well lived.
That's one of those mission accomplished deaths.
Yep.
That's like, great to live forever, but we were, 15 years ago, we had made our peace. Well, I expected you to laugh. I didn't expect.
It sounds like
I don't know, man.
That one landed on the foul line.
I don't know.
It was supposed to land so far out that it was funny. I was making fun of myself.
Instead, it sounded like you wished him dead 15 years ago.
Yeah. It may be too soon, man, for that joke.
It's. But it's the end of an era for sure.
Yeah.
Like,
Spencer, did original series Star Trek ever cross your path?
No, but I did enjoy that ballad of Bilbo Baggins there.
Yeah.
I remember that from his second album,
His best,
Two
in my
Sides
opinion.
of Leonard Nimoy.
I
consider it kind of his Sgt. Pepper.
Yeah, no, definitely.
The Two Sides of Leonard Nimoy was depicted graphically. Was it like Leonard Nimoy as this Vulcan-esque guy?
It was exactly. The album was called Two Sides of Leonard Nimoy, and two pictures in profile, one of Leonard as Leonard, and the other as Spock.
There's a great photo that Proop sent me today. It's him in a turtleneck hanging out with Jimi Hendrix, and it's like, yeah. Because
when that's weird, isn't it? That there was a time
but also,
when those things.
Jimmy looks more excited to be with Leonard Nimoy than vice versa.
Well, can you imagine being being alive at a time, working at a time when Star Trek was on the air, or it was and then Spock walking into a party? Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
We get excited about Jeff Goldblum, he's kind of the Spock of Jurassic Park. I don't know. It's not. There's nothing Spock walked in the door. That must have been amazing. Specifically Leonard Nimoy, such a crazy, striking looking guy. It's 9/11, and don't we have were we going to do a new tradition at 9/11?
What was it? I forget.
It was make a wish. Oh yeah, what's your 9/11 wish? I wish for no more 9/11s, but. All right, let's forget that. We'll put
I wish Leonard Nimoy dropped dead 15 years ago.
Curtis, do you want to make a wish? It's still 9/11.
Make your 9/11 wish before it's over.
No, I can't. That's too much pressure for me.
Spencer, you get a 9/11 wish?
I just want to be... We didn't actually settle. That was one of the pitches, was to make a wish. But that was not where we settled.
I thought there was one that I jazzed to more than a wish.
Yeah, exactly. There was... I don't know what it is.
Anybody recall from last week?
I just love killing momentum.
Whoa.
Wow.
It's more of an opportunity.
9/11 to 9/11.
I just made a new wish, motherfucker.
Did my wife ever make it here? Is she in the back?
Erin, you here?
Erin
McGathy to the stage.
Hello.
Hi.
Erin is the reason why we watch your show in bed with our dogs, our many dogs. And,
we have a very specific fetish. It was just outlined.
That's a really specific one.
It is. Curtis, I heard that not all of your summers have been sane.
Yeah.
Curtis was in One Crazy Summer. Did you guys bring that up already?
Yeah, we did actually.
Oh, I'm
we
so
talked
sorry.
about that, but that's all right.
The pikey takes a long time.
It's nice to know that you were listening to the show.
Me and my best friend Kimber, who's backstage, we got some burgers. We ordered them at some boogers, some booger burgers.
Where'd you get the burgers from? That's what I want to know.
I don't know why in that moment I thought you were talking from above.
because I can't see him, so when that voice comes out, I get confused.
It's a real layout issue. No, where'd the burgers come from?
I'm sorry I brought it up. It's very boring. We ordered burgers from the pikey thinking that we would get them before 8 o'clock, and we didn't.
That's not boring at all.
That story is a rich tapestry. That's a Navajo quilt.
I'm very embarrassed about my one crazy summer joke because I was about to come on and I'm like, they haven't even mentioned one crazy summer.
No,
it's gonna be
we
real
covered
cool.
that first, actually.
Oh boy. Well, this is
right.
one boring spring.
Oh, there's a segment I'd like to do. I'd like to add a segment that comes after 9/11 called Dan's Getting Tipsy. Play the theme music.
Because this now is my favorite song of all time.
From the morning to the night, you're gonna drink. Family. Right. So I just want to like. There's always going to come a point, obviously, in the show, and because I drink throughout the show, and I start to lose control. And start to regret, like, then the things, the reason I don't listen to the show then the next night. But
were you drinking before the show?
What I wanted to say is, no, I wasn't drinking. What are you, Dr. Drew?
I'm just saying. Were you easing as?
No, I was in the edit bay, but I just sit here. It's glasses of vodka.
You sit down and you start the earnest drinking.
I start to get
during
a
the show.
little buzz, and then I start to think. I just wanted to say, Curtis, you look so great on the show, on the King of the Nerds show. You look so activated and glowing and happy and handsome and like delivering so much. That's why I want people to watch the show. You're so
because I look much better than I do here. This was this.
Spencer, my Molly just kicked in, so I want to tell you this.
There's a segment for that too. Everyone's drugs are kicking in.
I will. This is very dumb, but I think maybe I'll call it 10 years ago, give or take. I was at a Chipotle on Sunset Boulevard, and you were in front of me, and I wanted to hug you because I was like, there's Curtis. I was so happy, and I was too shy to say hello, but I was very happy to be standing behind Curtis Armstrong at the Chipotle.
I
think it was
don't know what to say.
Baja Fresh. It was a Baja Fresh.
Okay.
Now do you remember?
That tracks.
Oh, the Baja Fresh.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
I was the guy right behind you.
You were the guy behind me that time.
I was the guy.
You know why I remember?
Yeah.
It was the only time I ever went into that place.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's such a risky business.
And it was
that was the right response.
That was pretty crazy.
That was pretty crazy.
When your business doesn't have insurance on it is taking certain gambles on the lawn. Beep, beep, financial risk. Everybody's gonna do it. Risky business.
Yeah, Curtis, you're so joyful on that show, and you clearly are super into it. Has anybody brought up your rap, your TBS rap?
My rap? No,
Yeah.
no one brought it up.
You have a rap?
Yeah, I think it's called On Fridays.
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure what it was called.
Is anybody familiar with Curtis's rap?
I'm going to try to... No, he probably is. It's... no, you know what? It was
King of the Nerds.
King of the Nerds on Fridays. TBS on Friday, 9 o'clock. The King of the Nerds. The King of the Nerds. The King of the Nerds. The Nerds is back
in the nerdiest nerd town.
No nerds. New night. New nerds intact. The ultimate nerds
and the ultimate showdown.
Battle
Come out for the ultimate nerd crown. King of the Nerds.
Something like that.
Hashtag something.
Hashtag Nerds Rule. Wish you would have known back in high school. Yeah.
Wow.
I kind of
feel bad that I kind of feel bad that MC John didn't sit in on that one.
Yeah.
No, that
Dan has a new rap character that.
And I'm expecting, Kanye to come out here any second.
Also, Curtis, you've been you've exposed a lot of skin this season. How do you feel about
naked.
that? Was that
I got
was that
naked.
your pitch, or was that what was the?
Yeah, it was the only time I've ever actually appeared in front of people without any clothes on.
So we had a theory about that.
What was it?
Because you're EPing the show with Carradine.
Yeah.
He seems a little like. Can we talk about Bobby? does he?
Can we
He
talk
seems,
about
he seems
Bobby?
less invested in the show than you.
Oh no, not at all. No, he's absolutely. It's just, I mean, you have two people. If we were both doing exactly the same thing, that would be
right. Oh, so he
does what he does,
he
and
said,
then I
you're
do
gonna
what
get
I do.
naked, and you're
But,
like, yeah, I'll get naked.
No. I mean, we had to get naked because I had to get naked because I will do anything, and they were trying to figure out well, I mean, within limits.
Cool it.
But they were, we needed to explain why, this is so stupid, but it was actually just because we needed to explain why the nerds were not going to pick their teams this year.
I mean, you
And
didn't have
somebody
to do what you
said-
did. I mean, it's great, but
Somebody said,
it's good.
one of the showrunners said, what about if we do Terminator and you show up naked from the future to explain why the nerds can't do this? So I said, great, because it was like
it was fantastic.
It was a great idea.
I was worried it was not going to pay off until the end of the season, that you guys were trying to do like a seasonal thing. Like this was the season
we've
when...
done it now. I mean, we did it. After the first season, we came back with an explanation. We have to figure out why the king is dead.
No, you don't. You don't.
No, we do.
But
that's
it's very
the
nerdy of you to
satisfying
do
thing
it.
about the
chosen
show.
to do
Yes,
that.
you don't have to do it.
That's true.
The Bachelor never says like,
No.
We ran out of roses on the first season. We gave them all away.
Yeah,
We had to put him down.
that's why we're different.
But I guess they're not saying it's the king of married people on that show. Like they're
Right.
just saying you two are married. Fuck off. And you're saying it's the king of the nerds. No, I love that.
I like
Each
it.
season
It's fun.
begins with the reason why the king of the nerds is now gone, and there
So we
needs
have
be
to get a
king of
new
the nerds.
king, and it has to. It's a science fiction thing or a fantasy.
With those bits, like this is the third season. Have there been any that you've regretted?
Oh, what you mean, nerds?
Oh well, sure. No. Your bits like the Terminator.
Oh no, I
Bits.
don't regret anything.
Oh, that's good.
I mean,
But
if
you've
I-
regretted some of the nerds.
No, I don't regret them either. I thought if that's what you were going to ask, I was going to say no. I don't have any regrets about the nerds, and I have no regrets about anything I've ever done.
Do you have any regrets
That's
in
good.
Do you have any regrets in life?
He
You just said no, you fucking asshole.
Well, no.
He's talking about the
Hang
show.
on, guys. Wait a minute. He was asking about life. I was saying that I don't have any regrets about my career.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
I just thought he should regret that question.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I like you, regret nothing. No, I'm
What?
kidding. I regret nothing. I don't regret asking that question. Fuck you.
Yeah. All right.
Now, do you regret saying bullshit?
He's a soci-
Let's not acknowledge this asshole that keeps on talking in the audience. Who got away? Did you ever have any romances with any co-stars?
What on the? You have to be more specific.
Well,
You mean?
I mean, in your like
mean
on
on the
the
nerds?
movies, like when you were wearing that Dickensian cap, and Better Off Dead, or
Oh, my little top hat.
that was a big top hat, Curtis.
Have I ever had romances on jobs? You mean?
Yes.
Well, of course.
Or what was that cool?
At the
Is there
time,
any? You don't have to say whom, but is there anyone that's like a Diane Keaton, where you're like, I know what it looks like. Like, is there any?
No, there's nothing like that. Nothing like that.
It could be anything.
Curtis, do you know what Diane Keaton's vag looks like?
It has a very tasteful vest.
You're saying Diane Keaton's vagina dresses up like Annie Hall?
I'm saying Diane Keaton's vagina dresses up like Diane Keaton, who dresses up like Annie Hall.
She's not always in a vest.
No, she's not. But that was King of the Nerds. King of the Nerds.
King of the Nerds on Fridays.
All right. So,
Thanks for doing that because it gives me a chance to say it's on Fridays. And, we're still running at
and
this
it's
point.
doing well in the ratings
It's
now.
doing well in the ratings. Yeah.
Which is a relief.
It is for me.
Because it's on TBS, and you can't tell. I don't know from when I'm watching the show. Usually in the old days in TV, you'd go like, well, obviously Manimal is killing. Because now the peacock has a fin on it. Because it turns into a shark. And
Wait, are you joking about that? Did Manimal morph the peacock into other animals?
No.
God damn, that would be great.
No, because Manimal never killed.
I used to. You ever pretend to be Manimal? Where I would do a thing where I put my hand on my desk and make my finger pulse, and I would. Remember, Manimal was like his kind of
Yeah.
Because it's good, a hand would puff out. I had a manimal trick when I was a kid.
Jack Black, I think I've told this on the show. Jack Black was, when we were doing Heat Vision and Jack, we were swapping stories about like the influence of $6 Million Man, and he said that he would go to school. I just talked about this, didn't I, on this podcast? He would, when he was in 6th grade, he would, because he loved $6 Million Man so much, he would sometimes tuck electrical wires into his sleeve, and go to class and wait for, in his peripheral vision, for another kid to like possibly see the wires, but not look at the kid and just like hide the wires. Because he was that into,
That's
he wanted to be a secret robot.
Wow.
Yeah. It's such a like.
I did something like that. Do you want to hear what mine was?
Uh-huh.
Because I wasn't into $6 Million Man. But I just
Did you
wasn't
pretend to be-
okay. Was that same guy who keeps asking
It's that guy.
questions? Okay, I didn't like it. Okay, but what I did, I loved Sherlock Holmes though. I was really into Sherlock
Like
Holmes.
what? In what incarnation?
books.
Just
The
the
books.
Wow.
And
a real nerd.
Yeah, and my bedroom overlooked the street outside my parents' house, and so what I would do, because I couldn't get dates and I had no friends, so I would lower my shade and light myself from behind, and then this friend of mine had given me.
No.
Stop. Let me finish.
I know.
So this friend of mine.
I know where you're headed, Curtis.
had given me a violin which had no strings, and I would stand in front of the shade and pretend to play the violin.
That's called home aloning.
Hoping somebody would walk by and go, boy, he's really more interesting than I thought.
That is. That's great.
I actually did that.
Was that based on an image that was described
In
by
the books, yes.
Conan Doyle?
Yeah, so he's walking, that aquiline figure walking past the shade. I would do that, only, of course, my figure was not really...
Curtis, do you know
from
how
the
you would...
side, I have no nose at all. I mean, you can see it when I'm facing you, but when you go to the side, I have no profile.
Now, when you picture Sherlock Holmes, do you picture one of the actors from the films, or do you have your
No,
own
I
image?
picture what I saw in my head when I first read the books.
Who would that look like?
It doesn't look like anybody that is in any of the movies.
Yeah, that's a great way to read
John
it.
Cusack.
Yeah. John Cusack, right.
John Cusack?
Yep. Yeah.
When that Sherlock Holmes movie came out with Robert Downey Jr., I was amazed to see a sequence in that movie that I had written into a script for the Heat Vision and Jack movie as a joke, which is that the idea that if you can get so intelligent that you can know how to beat somebody up.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, that was the joke in the Heat Vision and Jack movie, is that he would like get super intelligent and then he'd be like, describing with diagrams the way that he would punch people. And it's like, and then they did it for real and they made a lot of money. Nobody cared. Nobody laughed. Everyone just went, here's my money. I love that he's so smart he can beat you up.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I was introduced to Revenge of the Nerds as a camp counselor. I had to chaperone a bus of a bunch of kids going to compete in a soccer game and all this sports competition, even though I wasn't a sports counselor. And the most jockey, most handsome counselor was like, I got to show you guys this movie, because we got to watch movies on the buses. So this other counselor played Revenge of the Nerds, and it was such a crisis of self as an uncomfortable teenager, all these jocks laughing at it, and the entire time I was like, what did explain to me what's funny? Is it funny because you're laughing at them, or you feel nerdy inside, or what's happening? It was just it was just a strange.
I remember that too.
thing.
All the kids were kind of laughing, they were they weren't nerds, but they loved that movie. They were laughing.
The funny thing
movie.
is, over the years, I get approached by people all the time. Guys on the street will come up to me, and they are clearly jocks. I mean, they've got no neck, they've got buzz cuts and all this, and the muscles and everything. And they're ridiculous. They look so jockey, and they will come up to me and say, "Revenge of the Nerds, right?" And I go, "Yeah, yeah," and they'll go, "That movie meant a lot to me. That was what my life was." And I'm saying, thank you. That's very nice of you. And inside I'm going, fuck you. You beat up people like me. But then I started thinking over time, I was going, you know what? Even within the jock world, there's a pecking order. And it's possible that the guy that I'm talking to was the guy who they called Tiny.
That's the thing. Yeah. Like I remember doing stand-up in like in Michigan, and it was like talking to like these motorcycle guys. They were all like super intimidating, and it was like trying to intimidate me. And then there was this one guy, and they kept calling him Cage. They're like, "There's Cage. Hey, Cage, you get the drinks." And Cage is like, "All right." And then and then throughout the night, like Cage, I was like Cage was more available to me, so I was like, "So Cage, what's it like with this motorcycle group?" And he's like, "Well, they do this," and they're like, "Hey, Cage, come on!" And he's like, "Fine." And then they started laughing, and they're like, "You don't like being called Cage, do you?" And he's like, "No, I don't." And I was like, "What? Why don't you like being called Cage? That's like badass." And he's like, "Cage is what you call a car. I can't drive a motorcycle anymore. I drive a car." They call cars cages because they're free.
Wait. He thought that because they called him Cage, he wasn't allowed to ride a motorcycle?
No, they called him. They were teasing him. His name wasn't even Cage.
Had he lost
like
his
they were
motorcycle
fucking
license?
with it. Yeah, something had happened.
And he couldn't drive the motorcycle.
And so they were calling him like, the equivalent of calling him like Lefty because he lost his right hand.
He shouldn't have taken himself so seriously.
Hey, the point being that
no, you're right.
No, sure. Well, and everybody, it's very rare for like a cool jock to actually feel cool. Right. All the people that we think feel
Or it's all a continuum, and that the point is that everywhere you go, like there is no such thing. That's why the nerd movement eventually, there's like once we started gave a name to feeling like the other, it was only a matter of time before that would be mainstream because everyone feels like the other. There's no one that you've talked to. You go to your 20-year high school reunion, nobody self-identifies as normal. Nobody. No. There's
true.
A bunch of people that you thought picked on you and that were all represented the normal people, and within them they were chewing each other to pieces, which is what we learned from Molly Ringwald and Breakfast Club. It's hard to be popular.
There's also a pride in what, I guess in the nerd community is that it does worship intelligence. It worships like knowledge, like information.
It worships efficacy. Yeah,
and it's obsession. I mean, it's obsession. You acquire, even if you're not a PhD, you've acquired vast amounts of knowledge about whatever you are interested in.
About at least one specific thing.
When you were saying something about the, what's the comic book guy doing on, when you've got PhDs? Well, the comic book guy, if you get him into a room with a PhD, is going to be able to whoop the PhD on comic book information. Right. So that makes that person intelligent in that way. Yeah. And that's everybody's got, their thing, and when nerds become obsessive about something, they become brilliant.
Have you ever played any...
Should I stop talking a while ago? Am I still talking?
Curtis, have you ever played any role-playing games?
You ask such interesting questions.
She doesn't mean sexually. She means like D&D.
I'm not sure now.
She doesn't mean... Have you ever broken in as a sexy burglar?
Every question she's asked me, I've had to have a follow-up because I'm not sure how to answer
Role-playing
them.
games like Dungeons & Dragons?
No.
Well, you're going to... You're about to right now. You're about to play a game called Shadowrun.
Okay.
All right. So Spencer is our game master.
Could I just ask? So earlier when you said, "Do I have a heart out?"
You said no,
and I said no.
I remember that.
If I had said yes, then I wouldn't have had.
You were answering this
happen.
question. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
You would be gone right now. You'd be safe.
I'd be home by now.
Yep.
I like that you thought I just asked you if you role play.
Well,
Curtis,
excuse
do you
me,
role play?
You said, "Do you play role playing games?"
Yeah. Also, you asked him if he had sex with women.
Yeah,
like
that's right. I have put myself.
So
in this
you
position.
have asked a couple of questionable questions. All
that's
right.
true, but you've been charmed.
Wait a minute. You know what? If this means I have to read something, you may be out of luck, pal.
Oh, well, yeah.
Oh, no, I can probably
What,
read
you
this.
need, like, glasses or...
Yeah. But,
I mean, I never know what's going on these pages.
All right.
You can fake it. I mean...
I don't know if I can fake it. I may have to have somebody get my glasses from the other room.
Oh, that's easy.
Can you do that?
We have all
Can
kinds
you have somebody
of,
do that?
Yeah.
Well, I'll find them.
Yeah,
Where
They're
are
in
they?
my coat. They're in my coat.
They're in his coat.
Is there anything else in your coat I should know about before I go through your coat?
No, and there better not be anything in my coat when I put it on later.
I'm not gross.
Say this coat is full
Okay.
of children's porn.
So, wait a minute.
Not porn of children, but porn that's owned by children.
Porn that children would make if you said, "Hey, make a porn movie,"
It's like a crayon and a donut.
and they just go down a slide together.
Oh, new zine idea.
Thank you. Okay. So,
It's just this is your character has been handed to you. It's a lot of little scrawly writing, little statistics and things. Like they won't come into play unless you're asked. Like essentially, what it is like it's improvised storytelling. With Spencer is the one that's in control of anything that happens because he's the game master. So he's telling us what's happening, but each of us is a character.
Okay.
And there's no like high pressure to it because it's kind of turn based and like you're not like
that's taped.
so he's letting us know what's going on, and then there's a point where we can do something. You can say,
Oh, I see.
I walk up the street, or I go over to the vending machine and I punch it, or whatever you want to do. And then Spencer, who's the referee and who understands the rules of the game, he might say to you, "What's your agility?" And it's okay that it takes a half hour for you to go, "It's 3," because you find it somewhere on the sheet and you go, "It's 3." And that's basically how
Your
it goes.
agility.
Yeah, what's that? That's an example, yeah. That's the question that's often asked me that I never have the answer to immediately.
Okay.
So in brief, like broad strokes, you're playing.
You mean attribute. Your
Yes.
attribute.
I was just saying,
You said agility, but you meant attribute.
well,
right?
I was riffing an example, yes, of an attribute, agility, for instance. Yes, I was.
Well, yeah, but
I'm not
it's-
stupid.
I was looking for.
I'm not
Sorry,
gross
but
and he's not
I was
stupid.
looking for agility, the list of possible things for agility, and there's no agility. There's attributes.
There's attributes, and then one of the attributes is agility. That's I was just as an example.
The second attribute down is agility.
Oh,
It's-
agility. Yeah. I've never thought of
agility as an
agility
attribute.
as an attribute. All right, never mind. Okay.
All right, so Spencer, do you want to briefly fill Curtis in on what Kumail, what his character is for the evening?
Your character's a doctor. He has
Yeah.
a gun. He could heal people.
Did you say
You know.
he has a gun?
Yeah, like
Okay.
a doctor.
Stupid me. I'm sorry.
You guys are criminals.
He has a gun.
Thou might do some harm.
Right. Exactly. Okay.
Yeah, you guys are criminals. You do missions for criminal employers.
Oh, so not a medical doctor. He's like a
You're kind of
doctor, like Doctor Evil.
It's
He's a
like
doctor like
both.
a
You're like a
military
street doctor. You work with criminals, and when criminals need medical help, you're the one that comes and patches
Oh,
us
I'm the
up.
guy. Oh, I'm that guy.
You're like
okay.
a mob doctor.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm the mob doctor.
Yeah,
And it's the future.
We're kind of like the A-team.
the future.
This is set like 70 years in the future or so, and we're like kind of like the A-team. We're a bunch of like
Okay.
we're specialists in certain ways. Dan's very strong. Erin's very like charming and charismatic and can talk her way in and out of situations. I'm a magic user, so I can cast spells and shit like that. So right now we're looking for a guy named Baldwin Brown, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we're trying to capture this guy and bring him back to our contact. So Spencer, if you would, why don't you give us the brief how do you do's and catch us up to date, please.
All right. Last time on Shadowrun, our heroes were in the warehouse looking for Baldwin Brown, but he was nowhere to be found. So together, our heroes tased a bunch of junkies and then slapped them awake and then asked them questions and then shoved RFID tags into their stomachs. Eve sent off a hawk spirit to find Baldwin, but he would not return in some time. Together, the heroes gathered up the illicit merchandise and headed off towards the neutral drop zone. That's all.
All clear.
It's pretty.
Thank you, Spencer.
Yep. So pretty cut and dry there.
Yep.
Did we? I can't remember. Did we took a truck, right? The ladies are driving.
You're in a
and
truck.
the fellas are in the back.
Portuguard's driving.
Yeah.
And
we're meeting up with our Johnson.
Okay.
Yep.
And Curtis's character, the doctor, we haven't encountered him yet, right?
Oh, he's been there.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry.
I have
yeah,
been
you
there.
have been.
Yeah,
with
so
us.
we
Okay.
don't have Hortigard, and so I'm in the back of the truck with you, Jim Nightblade, who is Dan,
And Doctor
Friend.
Dr. Friend.
Dr. Friend.
Dr. Friend
Is he in
is
the
probably
back?
up in the front, maybe with Mercy, right?
Wherever
Yeah.
he wants to be, man.
Well, which is it?
What part of the truck? Do you want to be in the back of the semi? Like
No, I want to be shotgun.
okay, you're shotgun.
I mean, it seems appropriate.
What's your agility?
My agility is 4.
All right, just checking.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good time.
All right, so we're I have
And that's 4 out of 10? Like, is that...
I think it maxed out at like 15 or something.
Oh, 15.
yeah we're new. At
I should be more than 4 then. But anyway,
We're just starting out, so
it's
we're
your game.
Now,
you're a troll also. You're not like a human. You're a troll.
Of
That's-
course.
I should have mentioned that.
A doctor gangster troll.
Yeah.
Okay. It sounds like a Curtis Armstrong part, actually.
All right, I through my comm link, we all have like little we can all communicate to each other through comm links. So I say to Mercy, where are we headed?
We're going to the Johnson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Sweet.
We're going to the Johnson. I still have this photograph of Brian
Baldwin.
Baldwin. Of Baldwin standing in front of a bathroom, so I'm looking at that. We're headed to the Johnson.
I don't like any of it.
You've been a problem this whole time, friend.
I can't go against my training.
Okay, friend.
I've been trying to help as much as I can, but I have to remember I am a doctor.
All right. I respect your integrity. How long does it take us
It's
to
not
get...
integrity. I've sold myself. I've sold myself to you people.
Whoa.
And if it wasn't for him knowing what he knows, I'd walk away from all of this.
Hey, Nightblade.
Yeah, what the fuck's going on, Nightblade?
What do you got in this guy? What are you holding over his head?
What are you talking?
We're a crew, Nightblade. I don't want any blackmail happening behind our backs.
This has
We
got to
have
be
a
about
mission.
trust.
It's not about blackmail. It's about friendship and trust. Something you guys wouldn't know about.
What the fuck is that supposed to mean?
Ask a friend.
All right, Doctor, why don't you patch up your relationship while we get to the Johnson?
Listen, Doctor, I'll tell you one thing right now. Life on the sprawl is all about secrets. It's all about selling yourself. If we had our way, we wouldn't be committing crimes for a living, believe me.
You know, I could always tell you're different from them. You are. You don't have to be here.
I don't want...
You could do better than this.
I'm a magic elf that is trained to use magic by Native Americans. I don't want to...
Come on, man.
I'm a girl. Magic female elf.
Woman.
Yes.
For God's sake.
Yes.
You're more than that.
What am I supposed to do? Just go back and hide in the woods and do what? I got to make a living somehow.
Shh. They're coming.
Doctor, who's coming? Who's coming?
Doctor, who's coming?
Pull over the car. Can we pull over the car?
Yeah, Hortigard.
I'm not driving. You're going to have to pull
stops.
over the car.
Hortigard does that.
Oh, Hortigard's driving. Okay.
I'm
sure
sorry.
is.
Okay. Sorry.
Hey, Doctor, real quick.
Yeah.
I'm not going to forget what you said.
No, we'll have to talk later.
Okay.
We can all hear you. It's like
I pulled over the car so you could talk privately, but I guess it doesn't matter. Let's Let's get back on the road. Okay, let's put it.
You just had us pull over.
I know. I'm flustered.
We'd get there faster if we didn't keep pulling over. I'll just say that.
Well, he said they're coming. Who's coming?
And I guess it doesn't make sense that I pulled over if someone's coming. They're coming. Let's meet them.
They
All right,
seem nice.
Okay, let's put a pin in this. I don't want to invalidate your feelings.
What's
I
our
will tell you the thing that I know about this guy that I have over him. He thinks they're coming a lot, even when they're not.
All right.
That's right.
what's our ETA to the Johnson
Yeah,
hookup?
what's our ETA to the Johnson
Oh,
hookup?
once we get back on the road, it'll just be a couple minutes.
Okay, we do. Let's drive again. Hortigard?
Okay. No, we were driving. You just had us pull out.
I know. And now we're.
You know.
Are they coming again?
No, it's. The problem is that my thing about them coming. I lost a patient because I was thinking about them coming.
All right, let's pull over.
And that's why I
don't
have
pull
to
over.
work
We
with
gotta,
these people.
Can we just get to the thing? Can we just have one?
Dr. Friend has said nothing for hours, and he waits until a crucial moment to bring up past issues, and I feel like we should deal with this. Or
Okay, here we are. We're pulling up in front of the Johnson.
So you enter the parking lot, which is the location of the neutral drop zone. It's a fenced-off affair squished between a number of low buildings. The fence is covered in chains, but it stands wide open. Cars and trucks line the street outside the parking lot, and broken, damaged buildings line the sky. I don't know. Some of the buildings are lit up by orange light. No one is in the lot that you can see, but it's where you're supposed to meet.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Are you doing your moonlighting impression? What is that?
I got a bad feeling about this. Come out to the coast and have a few laughs.
All right.
Curtis, just so you know, Dan's character is strongly influenced by Bruce Willis. So.
Post moonlighting, Bruce Willis.
Post moonlighting. Okay.
So all right. So
It's nighttime, right, Spencer?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I want to draw my weapon and get ready
No.
before I. What? What?
Okay, sorry.
I didn't. I'm telling.
Just Jim, you always lead with force, and we don't know what's going on. And
I'm getting out of a truck in an abandoned vacant lot that we've been summoned to that's loaded with valuable goods.
all right.
Sorry,
Sorry, I thought I was talking to the guy who beat up a bunch of people for no reason previously.
One man's no reason is another man's precaution.
Yes, exactly. Yes, precisely. Thank you. That is what I was saying.
So I'm just saying I'm drawing my Ares Predator or whatever it is, and because I'm going to get out of the trailer now. I've been in the back of a truck like garbage.
All right, you hop out of the trailer in the parking lot, the location of the neutral drop zone. You don't see anything around other than tons of cars and trucks that are just in the lot parked. They lie still.
Is anyone playing Hortigard?
I am.
He's the guy we need to Hortigard. Wait, I want to know if there's people in any of these cars and trucks.
Oh, I detect a person.
Uh-oh. Where?
There. He points in the direction of a truck.
I'm going to put a spell on him. I'm going to cast a spell on him.
All right, what do you want to cast?
He's now unable to do anything, and we can take our time to figure out what our next move is.
Well, I'm not.
I can do that because
What's that spell
I
called?
see it's. I have level 5 spell casting. So.
And then
not-
these
look.
are your spells.
Yeah.
What? Oh,
These are your
yeah.
spells.
Oh, okay.
You don't-
These are the spells.
You don't
Yeah.
have spell making up.
Okay. Okay.
He has level 3 UCB spell where he can.
Oh, these are my things. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. There. I've created a dome or wall. of magical energy. We have to think fast. I don't know how long I can hold it.
Wait,
Okay.
Doctor, what is the wall between us and what?
It's between us and him.
Okay.
Whatever he is.
All right. I run up to the hotel. I run up to the wall, and I use my perception to see if the person is what their motives are.
Oh, who is he? What is he? What are his motives?
This guy's a really
Try
good
to find
doctor.
out.
He's a very good doctor.
You don't see anything beyond the wall other than a truck, like a semi-truck.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm so happy.
Where's the truck that the guy's in? I'll go check it out.
Portagard points at it.
I walk in that direction.
As you walk, you see lights from the trucks flick on, flanking your path, lighting up the entire lot. The truck you're walking towards, the door clicks open, and you see a dapper figure emerge. It's a khaki suit-wearing orc with a data jack in the side of his head and a monocle. He's holding a metal briefcase.
oh no.
Mercy, go up there and do your thing.
Can I sprint up to where Jim is?
Yep.
All right. I'm going to use negotiation.
All right.
Hey, handsome.
It's good to finally meet you in person.
It is great to meet you too. I assume that you are this Johnson we're all talking about?
Oh, yeah. That's why we're all here, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is. Sure is. Did you like my friend's wall that he made, that dome?
I gotta say, it's a bit alarming.
Well, the thing that our crew does, some crews just go around and they just talk to people, but we show what we can do.
He's a doctor with a rich past.
Yeah, and he may also be going through a very messy divorce. We're not sure. So we do not have.
Baldwin Brown.
Yeah, we do not have old BB. And I was wondering if maybe we could have a little more time. I do have a very good lead. So.
Well, what's the lead?
I produced the picture.
This looks like it was just taken from his Instagram account.
Yes, here's the thing. A lot of people wouldn't look at this. And as we all know, there are only so many bathrooms in the city. I think that we should have a little bit more time. And if you need some more convincing, why don't I show you what my old friend, Dr. Friend, can do spell-wise. Take it away, Dr. Friend.
Agony! Agony spell!
Oh, Jesus.
Agony!
Whoa!
Agony!
Whoa. He's
It induces
same team.
terrible pain
Same team.
in the target
He's the guy that pays
until
us.
it is deactivated.
Jesus Christ! Somebody.
Oh my God!
So,
The spell! There's something wrong! It's affecting me! He has superpowers! I never suspected!
I use.
and the same will happen to you all if you don't return with Baldwin Brown.
Okay, that went better. He took that better than I thought he would.
Hey, listen, we got a truckload of BTL chips. That was part of the deal. It was $1,500 a piece or something.
No, it was not that. It was 1,000 apiece.
1,000 a piece. We got a truckload. So
Yeah, well, at least pony up for the BTLs we almost got killed trying to get.
All right. How many boxes you got?
1 million.
Oh, I'll just verify that. He walks over to the back of the truck and starts counting. It's like, why this? This is only 25.
I mean, that's a lot.
That's all that was there. We got them all. We got 100% of their BTL chips.
Yeah, a million probably wouldn't fit in a truck anyway. I don't know what I was thinking.
Hey,
Look.
you're asking the wrong guy.
Also, we have using negotiation and intimidation. You really should give us $1,100 a box because there are a lot of people who want these chips.
Well, and it's really for my street clinics.
And obviously, we have no idea what he's going to do.
I mean, you have to realize I may be working with these people, but I still care about people who have no safety net. And they come to my clinics on the street for help, and these 25 boxes will just be enough to make the difference.
I'm not sure what is being expected of me.
It's being explained to you that we have a huge humanitarian incentive to.
We need a little bit more money. Why don't we get $1,100 a box, and we'll go and we'll get Mr. Bryan.
All right, that sounds cool.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Do you know anything more about where he is?
Hey, Mercy, you guys are all forgetting that I have my eagle spirit scouting the neighborhood right now. Looking
No, I
for
remember.
Baldwin Brown.
Do you know anything?
I'm just saying at any moment I go into a Native American
Jeff, as your friend, just take a beat.
Salish. I go into a shamanic trance and I try to communicate with my eagle spirit who's flying over the city. Eagle, do you see Baldwin Brown anywhere?
No, it'll take me like another 20, 30 minutes.
Okay, cool.
So spiritual.
I shoot a ray of energy into the air that spells TTYL.
See ya.
I guess we
Our
made
national
made
bird.
20.
So the Mr. Johnson, he pulls a cred stick out of his briefcase, and he's like, "This is what's 25 times 11? This is that many millions for your troubles."
Times 100, you mean?
Yep.
Anybody?
25 times 100 is 2,500.
Don't worry about it. I'll do the math later.
All right.
He hands you the cred stick.
Or 250. Thank you. The cred stick?
Yeah, that's like a credit card, basically.
It's like
it stores your money.
It's like
Okay.
a gift
In the
card
future,
where
it's
UFP
gotten longer
drives.
and thinner. Okay, sorry.
What is
Cred
what is your problem with the cred stick concept?
You know, it's more a reflection of me.
No.
It
It should be smaller. It should be smaller. It shouldn't be. In the future, we shouldn't be advancing to bigger.
Right.
We should be shrinking.
Thank you for
Right,
that.
but what if the stick
Right?
does
Am
more?
I right?
What if the stick is a whole
I mean,
bank?
where are you going to put the stick when you go out?
Right.
You have
Yeah.
to have a special pocket.
Exactly. Oh, maybe that's why they did it.
Fit in your.
So,
the stick is pretty small. It's not like a giant stick.
no, I know. Memory stick. No, I got it. I'm sorry. I can't. Curtis, this is Erin talking. I have a hard time remembering the name for the cell phone and the money. Yin Yang. Yeah. Okay.
New yen.
New yen.
New Yen. Okay. Yeah. See.
All right.
You hear the cry of sirens. They're close, too close. It's the cops. Johnson's like, "What the hell? They must have bugged the merchandise.
Oh shit!
Oh shit.
What are we gonna do?"
All
Too
right.
late. We gotta take the cred sticks and run, everybody.
Yeah. Can we?
We'll meet back. We'll meet back at the
sons of
hangout.
bitches.
We
You
run.
son.
Sorry.
He's just you sons of bitches. Go ahead.
Wait, what? You not satisfied?
Well, it sounded like you guys were running away.
Well, we are running away, but you can run too.
Oh, yeah.
We're not doing anything wrong to you, right?
I got a whole truckload of goods to move immediately. It's a situation on my hands.
You want to pay us to help you with that situation?
No.
Nightblade, are you high? He's not part of our group.
Wait,
He's a customer. He's the guy that we're gonna go off and do the job, and he's dissatisfied. We're walking
What?
away, and he's
What?
calling us assholes.
You worked at Radio Shack, and the manager had a problem. Would you leave your family to burn? That made a lot of sense. Hortigard. Portagard, there's some dark area nearby where we can hide where the cops don't find us?
I don't know. Probably, just statistically.
Eve, can you ask your eagle?
Can I cast invisibility over all of us and make us and the truck disappear? Or
not the truck. You could do it on people, but it's going to take some drains.
I could also use I could use phantasm and create some other thing to distract the cops. Like I could make some other thing happen far away that makes the cops go somewhere else to buy us some time.
You could.
Oh.
All right. So how close are the cops?
Oh, they're going to be here in a couple minutes.
A couple minutes.
Johnson, do you want out of this problem?
Maybe, but only for very cheap.
Name a price.
700.
700 for each person that risks their life?
No. Just to solve the situation.
All right, see ya.
What kind of rice?
Let's go. The guy's like...
You sons of bitches.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you got no right to say that anymore. You had an opportunity. Like, tell your accountant, see ya.
I go towards the street where the cops are coming. I can hear the street where they're going to be coming from, right?
Right.
Yep.
And I say, everybody, get in the truck, get ready to get the hell out of here. I'm going to create a phantasm to scare the hell out of these cops. When it starts, we have to get the hell out of here and go the other direction. Johnson, you want to come with us, or do you want out?
Well, I need that truck. I mean...
Yeah, so we'll all get in the truck together with the merchandise, and we'll go somewhere else and get away from these cops.
I'll drive the truck.
Sounds good.
All right. Johnson likes it.
I can just say that they're medical supplies if the police stop me.
All right. You guys, everybody in the truck, I'm going to try this. We only got one shot at this, you guys. And also, our show's about to be over, so this has to count.
All right.
All right, let's go.
All right, the truck rolls out of the parking lot.
Okay, I go out into the streets, and I touch my red feather earring, and I summon all the magic of my training, my elven upbringing, and my Native American tribe, and I summon a spirit. I summon a 20-foot tall flaming gorilla to stand in the middle of the streets, and just start freaking out in front of the cop cars.
Not only is it a giant gorilla, it's also angry.
No. This is a flaming gorilla that means business, but it's only a phantasm. It can't really hurt him. It's just going to scare these cops. And I cast it as a level 5.
All right, it's a level 5.
Level 5 flaming gorilla, middle of the road, freaking out.
It occurs to me I could have done the barrier here. But I feel like I've already done it, and then now it's not going to work. But
you kind of shot your wad. You shot your wad.
I shot it. This would be the perfect time for it. If I'd known this is where we were going, I would have waited on the barrier for now.
We should have given you the script. We read it.
This is the problem.
Hey,
you don't get the script.
Doctor,
you don't know what's happening.
Doctor, remember before when you told me that I'm bigger than this and there's more to me than that?
Yes.
I think that we're all learning something today, and that you're going to use to harness this ability and know when to time it better next time.
Mm-hmm.
And to use it for good.
Yes. Level 5 gorilla!
A gorilla sprouts up. He's 20 feet tall. He's beating his chest, which is on fire. He's meaning business, and you guys scoot off into the night.
Scoot.
If there's any cops following you, they make no indication. 20 minutes later, your eagle friend goes, "Hey, I found Baldwin. You're not going to like it, though.
Why
He's
not?
in a business. Building, I mean. He's in a building."
God damn it.
That's our kryptonite.
Are you saying there's a roof and walls and there's some sort of organization inside that makes money?
Yeah, I
Bob.
mean, it's a
Sorry.
it's a telepathic link.
You guys, it looks like we're going to have to get Baldwin.
Which business? Eagle.
Oh, I don't know.
So you truly
Eagle,
thought we weren't going to like that he was in a business?
Oh, wait, no. You're not going to like the defense mechanisms around the business.
Oh. What are they?
Oh, they got magical barriers.
Sounds like me.
That sounds like a case for the magical barrier doctor to come in. Cliffhanger!
Wait a minute. Curtis Armstrong will be back next week to reprise his role as the astrally projecting doctor. Thank you all for coming.
Erin
Curtis
McGathy.
Armstrong.
Thank you.
Curtis
everybody.
Armstrong.
Thank you.
Erin McGathy, Spencer Crittenden. I'm Jeff Davis. Thank you, everyone here at Meltdown Comics. Your mayor, everybody, Mr. Dan Harmon.
Did you get any of that?
It's a good show.
Feral Audio.